What is up, everyone? I am Chris Knight. You are watching Chaos Central and the Real Review 3000. It's good that you guys can be with us tonight for the Rule of Three on Wednesday nights now, which we've moved it to that night every week. And with me, as always, the usual suspects, as Nzo likes to say. We got Nzo from Biggaford Entertainment and Danny from Comic Chat. Why don't you guys go ahead and tell everybody about yourself, where they can find you, all of that good stuff, because I know we're all on different things all over the place, and I'm teaching you guys how to be good streamers. We'll just call it that. How about that?
Good streamers.
Yeah, because I won't call you guys what I call myself. I mean, it isn't fair.
Right, because I be pimping you anyway. So let's get it straight. All right, we already know that. You know?
Okay, so Nzo, just for your information, ladies and gentlemen, is the streaming pimp.
Yes, that's how I make my note.
Danny is the streaming enforcer. I'm just the stream whore.
Yeah, Danny could be my number two.
Oh, did you hear that, Danny?
I'm just sitting here. I like to think of myself as a wise sage. I'm the YouTube wise sage.
Nice.
Until I have to set him loose on somebody. You know what I mean? You know,
last night, man, I want to apologize. Last night, man, I was so fucking sleepy on that last stream. Oh my god, it was all I could do to stay awake.
So that happened.
Sleepy and bored.
Yeah, I don't understand about that. The watch. I'm gonna watch it to see, but I just can't get into it.
I really want you to watch it to see what you think about it.
I'm gonna try it. Is it on Netflix?
No, it ain't on any. I think it's on HBO Max, they said.
Okay.
But I don't have that, so I don't know.
Let me check and see.
All right. Well, Nzo, go ahead and tell everybody about yourself, where they can find you, all that good stuff.
What up, people? You know, the channel's Biggaford Entertainment. Seems like I'm kind of joined at the hip with Danny because every single show that I have, except for one, is with him. So there's Square One, there's Equilibrium, there's Chaos List, Rule of Three, Chaotic Conversation, and yeah, if that's what I remember. So those are the things you find me on, the channels you guys can find me on, and you know, hopefully you enjoy the content.
Indeed. Danny, go ahead and tell everybody about yourself and where they can find you.
I am Danny Graham, aka Comic Chat. You find me on YouTube here on the Comic Chats too, and also on Twitter, Comic Chats too. Monday nights, Tuesday nights, Wednesday night, I'm usually with these two other guys here. We share streams together on the Chaotic Conversation, Chaos List, Rule of Three. We broadcast simultaneously on our Chaos channel and also on regular YouTube channel. So please check us out. Like Nzo said, we pretty much join at the hip Saturday nights or Saturday afternoons around about 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can find us on Square One, talking totally sports. And then Sunday, you can catch us around about 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Equilibrium. This week, I'm glad to say we'll be discussing The Boys Season 2. So if you're a fan of The Boys Season 2, please check in with us. We will be discussing that because we have finally finished Stargirl Season 1. So
did you guys finish your conversation about that? Oh, sorry.
We did.
All right, cool. Sorry.
You did.
Hey, just cut them
Also, you check us out on Robert Storm's Live, which we do usually 4 nights out the week. Anything goes on there, and not to the one we'll discuss. But I know it's a lot of material, a lot of channels to watch, but stick with one. Please support us because we want and need your support. I'm trying to get to 1,300 subscribers. I can only do that if you hit subscribe and share my links. So thank you for having me.
Yes, not a problem. All right, guys, we know the way this goes, but let's tell everybody out there who might watch this. Really simple. The Rule of Three is basically picked randomly. We have 3 topics that we pick from the Wheel of Topics. The Wheel of Topics just picks randomly between 3 topics that each of us have put on there. Lately, we've just been replacing the 3 topics with 1 new topic each and leaving the old topics up as long as they are pertinent to the current times, which they have been for a little bit. So we have 9 topics. 3 only get picked. We each get 3 minutes, and then we have 3 minutes of a powwow of that topic between all 3 of us. With that said, guys, I'm going to bring it up right now. It is the lovely wheel of topics. Yes, always a lovely thing there.
You love that wheel, eh?
Hey, listen, it's easy when it picks the topics. 3 minutes there on that timer. Also, we're going to spin and see what our first topic is. I know last week we didn't spin for the first topic. We used the Chadwick Boseman topic, which was a very good one. All right. We keep hearing the term the new normal. How long until we get back to normal? Or do you think that the new normal is now the normal? How many times can I put normal in a question? My God. Now when I said it, it's like, okay. Hold on. I got to find this question so we can put it in the chat so everybody has it. Here we go. Who would like to go first? Anyone?
Yeah, I'll go.
I'll go for it. Okay. Go ahead.
No, you go, Danny.
All right, Danny, 3 minutes on the board.
Hey,
And time
for
starts.
beauty.
I usually thought we were going to get back to the old normal with no masks and no social distancing. I'm not sure if that's going to happen, or if it does, it's going to be a while before we see that. I was just listening to some of the numbers today in our schools. In this particular state, there's 200 and something active cases of COVID-19. It seems like every holiday that we normally get together and celebrate, there's a spike in the COVID cases. So we're going to have to start recognizing that, believing that, and do what we not necessarily want, but what's going to be safe. I know it's tradition for families to get together, friends and family, on these holidays and try to do what's normal, but we're going to have to stop that and kind of apply practical sense to that, common sense to that, and just do it in a safer manner. The next big holiday, if memory serves me correct, is going to be Thanksgiving. So I don't know how that's going to affect people as far as traveling, as far as people having people in their homes. If you listen to The Rock, he says that if you ever had it, since his whole family was contaminated and got it, that if you ever had it, you're not going to be welcome at his house until this thing is under control. So you're going to have to learn how to say stuff nicely, like, no, I can't come over, or no, we can't do that because we're practicing social distancing, and you're going to have to just try and take care of your core family and yourself, because just like anything else, there's different strains of this stuff, and some is attacking more aggressively than others. So you want to get hold of one that's going to attack you very aggressively, and then you don't know what the long-term effects this may be. And then you don't want to turn around and get it a second time, because Nzo made a good point on the stream we had. This is like a cold. And each year, people usually get colds, but it's never the same strain twice. So I wouldn't want anybody to go through this one time, let alone 2 times. And according to what we've heard, I don't know whether it's myth or true, that this thing thrives in the cold, and that's coming up pretty soon. Winter is right around the corner. So you got to be smart about it. I know the mask is not comfortable, but would you rather be uncomfortable and living and healthy, or comfortable, sick, and possibly die? So to me, that's a no-brainer. I want to get back to the old normal, but if the new normal is going to help us survive and we just got to wear a mask and wash our hands 10 times instead of 5 times, then I'm all for that. So I'm not sure when the old normal is going to ever come back.
Okay, very good.
That's the first time I ever heard these things make noise. I heard the wheel. When you spun the wheel, it made the tick, tick, tick noise, and now
I added the I shared the audio. I normally don't.
Why did you do that from the first time, Chris?
Listen, if I go with normality up front, then you will not be surprised when I go to normality. my normal brand of craziness is not always going to be the same craziness because then it keeps you on your toes.
You just didn't know how to do it until now.
No, actually, I did, but I just thought about it today. I was like, oh yeah, I could click that.
All right, let's go.
See, normally on Sundays, I'm dreading the next day, and it's like I don't think about it. No. 3 minutes on the board. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, 3 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay, so do I think that this is the new norm? No, I don't. I do think sooner or later we will get back to normal. I mean, especially here in Canada, it's a little bit different, right? I just looked at some numbers and we had, in Montreal anyways, 54 new cases and no deaths. So compared to the numbers that you guys are having, like it's not even close, right? And I haven't really seen any how many new cases America has or any place in there has, but I know it's still bad in certain spots, right? Like there's certain hot spots where it just keeps going up. And I guess that's because they tried to open things up a little bit too early. But at this point, I'm beginning to think we may never truly get rid of this. You know, it's like it's probably here to stay like the common cold is. There's not enough time with it to know if what happens when you catch it and you get rid of it. Can you catch it again? Can you not? So these are a lot of things that people have to figure out. Plus the vaccine that should be coming out, if it does come out or when it does come out, should help a lot. People are losing a lot of money, right? So it can't stay like this. Even if they can't get rid of it completely, they're probably going to have to put in steps to where they protect people or something like that, you know, because movie theaters are dying, you know, they're like literally going under. So they had to bring out some new movies just to see if they can get some money. Movie companies are struggling, right? Can't get their movies out, you know. Disney Plus has Marvel things coming out that are supposed to come out. Those things haven't come out yet, you know, and when they do start to shoot it, then boom, someone gets a case of it and they got to pause the shooting for a while again. So they're going to have to figure out something out. Hopefully the vaccine can help. But I think maybe, I don't know, man, with us, we should be back to normal within 6 months, I guess. You guys are probably a year, maybe a year and a half away from completely getting rid of this stuff. People just need to do what they have to do, like Danny said, keep wearing your mask, keep social distancing, because from all the cases that we've seen, it's anytime the beaches open up, then there was a spike. You know, there's parties people are going to, clubs people are going to, and then there's another spike. So people are trying to be normal, but it's still hard right now. And they got to realize if you just take your time and do what's supposed to be done, the virus will go away. The numbers will go down. Like Canada's living proof of that. You know, our cases were never as bad as yours, but our cases are now always going down. So,
okay, cool. All right, let's see here. I'm with both of you. I think we're all three going to say the same thing, but in different ways. I believe, yeah, we're going to get back to what we call normal. Look at it this way. While this may be, because we really don't know for sure, but this might be just like a cold, just another strain of a cold or a flu. And nobody wears masks around because of the flu or the cold.
mm-hmm.
I think the key here is that like the flu, we need a vaccine. And that vaccine may be better 1 year to the next, depending on if this is while there are different strains, they say that those strains are not, inherently that different from one to the next. That they're still saying this is a relatively slow, as far as I've heard, relatively slow mutating. That a single vaccine could be tweaked from season to season, but we don't even know what the season is yet. I'm right there with Nzo. I believe that the majority, well, for us especially, about a year away before we actually are going to feel comfortable with saying to people, okay, you can do this, you can do that, and we'll just kind of let this go and we'll see. And I would agree with you that places like Canada I think Italy now has dropped again, but I think I heard they might have another hotspot. I can't remember. There's several countries that are pretty much at the point now that it's over. I mean, China, as far as I know, there's very little going on with this over there, but they always wear masks. That's just how they are. But I do believe we'll get to a normal. When? I'm not sure, but I do think we're going to get to a point where we won't have to wear masks because we will have a strong enough vaccine. I even talked about it the other day with some people at work. I'm like, this year I might actually go and get the flu vaccine. I don't do that. But this year I might. And when the COVID-19 one comes out, I will more than likely get that. I'm getting, I'm not young anymore. I'm not old, but I need to watch that stuff now. And this is one of those things that no matter what you think about it, I always believe don't take it lightly. It's obvious, it's real. It is a small percentage of the overall population, but I don't want to be one of those people in that percentage. So, I do think though normal will come. I would, again, a year probably for the United States before we're really just maybe next summer. I think next summer a lot of things are going to open back up. They're going to try to open up all the parks the normal way, water parks, all of that stuff, and we'll see what happens. 3 minutes on the board for all of us to talk about this. Dandelion Fluff says, I like the new normal. I don't have to interact closely with strangers. I don't have to touch sticky things. I don't have to smell people with weird odors. Oh, geez.
I can agree with certain things, but there's also some things that piss me off too. Like, people be walking down the street with their gloves and they still cross the street. I'm like, are they doing that because they're still scared? Or is it because they're racist and they get to have an excuse for not crossing my path kind of way? You know what I mean? It's like, you're protected. What are you worried about? It's not like this fucking virus can jump off me and jump onto you, So kind of pisses me off when that happens, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think if you're an introvert, then this is a paradise. Because you don't have to interact with people. But if you're an extrovert, then you're like, oh my God, when is this going to be over? So you got to find that happy medium where I guess the introvert and extrovert can kind of coexist. That's what I'm looking for. I mean, I like some of what really pisses me off is I'll forget to have my mask. I walk in the store, especially if I'm in uniform, and I'm the only one that don't have it. Then I know like, oh. Well, he's the police. He don't have it, so I have to go back to my truck. I've done that several times. That gets on my nerves. So now I have to mentally make a mental note, put it in your pocket, put it in your to make sure that don't happen. But other than that, I'm not really too terribly upset about the mask, especially if they discover that the spittle and the sneezing particles is the main carrier of this particular disease. So why not cover that up? So I don't have a problem with that. Some people I'm not going to wear that. I'm not going to, okay, well, freaking die then. Sick and die. You get sick enough, then you put on the mask.
What pisses me off is I have a whole bunch of different masks, different types, like my Joker one that says ha ha with the big smiley face. I have one that's a skull, jawbone. I've got several others. And what pissed me off was I got those, and as soon as right before I got those in the mail, my work instituted a mandate that they had to be like this one or this one or this one. And I'm like, oh, God. That's what pissed me off first. The spittle thing, I understand that, Danny. But here's another thing that pissed me off. I was at work. I was like 10 feet away from one of the other people that worked there. And I pulled down my mask, and I had horrid allergies. Year-round horrid allergies, like dust, mites, all that crap, including pollen, all the outdoor stuff. And I pull down my mask and I go like, and sneeze in my elbow area, like they tell you is the best way to do it. And this lady 10 feet away from me is freaking out. And I'm like, if you think you're gonna get it, you're dead then. You're already dead. It's like, don't freak out.
And I got I got I was gonna say, Danny, when you walked into the store with your without your mask, did anybody say anything to you?
No, but they're giving them looks like you better do it, because if not, one thing about law enforcement, if you don't do something, you're gonna get a. You may not every time, but I'll say 7 out of 10 times, somebody gonna call their boss and be like, "Well, I saw one of your deputies." Da, 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 da. And I don't want to be the one, especially in my position, that they call, because I'm like at the top of the leadership part where I work at. So I want to set the example, because then I have to get on somebody. It looks kind of bad when my boss had to get on me. So I just make sure, hey, it's aggravating, it's a pain, but do I really want to hear that spiel about it? Okay, you should have your mask on, yes, sir. Well, so that's why I do
it is maddening to forget it, and then you're walking all the way back to your car. Like, oh, come on.
Yes.
All right.
Oh, and just one more thing before we go to topic. On your topic about the sneezing, I smoke, right? So it's legal here. So I walk down the street and I burn, and sometimes I cough, and it's like looking around, like watching. Yeah, it's like, relax, people. It's only the weed. Don't worry.
Jeez, smoking here. No, I know. Even if I like, I've made a very conscious effort lately that if I have to clear my throat, that it's not that type of thing. I'm literally going like, doing that, because I don't want anybody to think I'm coughing.
Yeah, or I'm trying not to cough. I'd be walking down the street and I'm like holding in the cough because there's a bunch of people around, and I'm like, because I know what they're gonna say, but I'm like, it's only the weed, guys. Don't worry.
Have we had this one on this show?
And see, now, man, I have like 2 or 3 masks in my vehicles. We got an ass of damn hand sanitizer in my vehicle, so it's like, okay, tissue. But shoot, what we can't find here? We can't find Lysol wipes here. Oh my god, there's like gold here.
I have like 5 canisters of them here, and anytime I do see it available to get, I get it.
And one last thing,
it is freaking gold here, buddy.
And one last thing I will say, with them making mask mandatory, we shouldn't have to pay for mask.
Oh, I see. As soon as they made it mandatory here, I asked places like Quick Trip, which I don't know. I don't think either of you guys have Quick Trip. It's a gas station quick shop, but it's pretty big.
Quick Trip.
Do you? Okay, I don't know how far they go now. They used to be Southwest, and I know they started going east, but I walked in the first day and talked to one of the managers I knew right that night before they mandated it at midnight. I said, "So what are you guys going to do at midnight? Are you just going to tell people they can't come in without the masks?" And he says, "Oh no." I said, "We're not going to do that. We're not going to turn away business." I said, "You do know that the city is mandating it." And he's like, "What?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "They passed a mandate that you have to have a mask on. Are you going to give people masks?" He said, "We can't afford that." I'm like, "What are you going to do? You're going to lose business? You're going to lose money because you let people in without it?" Because I mean, the fine, I think I heard like $1,000. Yeah, well, see, that's the thing. Exactly.
Yep.
But all right.
I don't think office, we supply you a mask and we take your temperature.
Yep. Yep. That's what they do where I work. Have we had this one on here?
Yes, we did.
Did we? Okay, I'll remove it. We'll spin again. I thought I couldn't remember, because I know we had it on. When you got 2 different shows, with you do this, you're like, I don't know. All right, let's do this one then. The New Avengers also could do the Illuminati storyline as a follow-up, which would involve Iron Man if they stay true to the comics. Could that be the way they bring Robert Downey Jr. back to Marvel? So what do you guys think? Do you think that they're going to do the Illuminati?
That's doing a different timeline.
Well, well, I don't know. We'll talk about it. 3 minutes on the board. Who wants to go first? Nzo?
Yeah.
All right, 3 minutes. Go ahead.
All right. So I have no idea about the Illuminati storyline in the comic books, so I don't really know. But when you're talking about, is it? Yeah.
Yes. You get a chance to read it. You should go.
I'll check it out because I did hear that they're actually trying to do things from that storyline in these next couple of phases, right? But to bring back Iron Man, it's not happening. It is not happening. Robert Downey Jr. had a I can't remember if I did it on one of my shows, but Robert, or maybe not. But Robert Downey Jr. literally said they asked him, and he said he's done. He said he's not going to be into any more Marvel movies, so his story is done. So I don't think they'll bring him back. Now I heard talk about them bringing him back as an AI. Maybe I can see that if the money's right, you know what I mean, then yeah, I'm sure they can get him to come back in some way. But at the same time, he's been doing these Marvel movies for 10 years now. I don't think he really wants to do them anymore. He might not want to do them anymore. But when you go to his track record, he does Dr. Dolittle and that movie flops, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not going to put the blame on him. You know what I mean? Because I seen the trailer for it and I was like, doesn't even look that interesting to me. So I'm not going to say because it's Robert Downey Jr.'s movie that it flopped. I think if you put him in the right movie, it'll make money. I think he's a well-known actor. He's very good. He can bring in the box office numbers. He just has to have the right movie. But if he does do another movie, let's say another movie comes out and it's supposed to be a really good movie and it flops and he has continuous flops, then yeah, I don't think coming back to Marvel would be off the table off that, right? Because he knows he can get money doing these Marvel movies. Now, if he has two flops in a row, he may not be able to get the same amount of money that he was getting before because Marvel probably won't need him, right? So they'll be like, well, if you want to come back, we'll pay you so and so, so he can't be demanding the high type of money he was demanding for Endgame and stuff like that, especially if the next couple of movies he does flops. But in all honesty, like I said, according to him, he said no. But I think we've heard actors say they wouldn't do something before, and then they get that paycheck, and it's like, oh, okay, well,
Many actors
you know what I mean,
and actresses.
You know what I mean? It's like they get that paycheck, and it's like, well, maybe I could do one more. So it's definitely not off the table. But if I'd have to say he wouldn't be back, then I would say he wouldn't be back. That's my opinion. Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Danny, 3 minutes on the board. Your time starts now.
I think it's possible, and I think he will come back if the story is good. Maybe not so much the money, because one thing about human beings, when you are put in a position where you receive a lot of attention, accolades, people cheering your name. I listen to a lot of the wrestlers that retire and can't do it anymore, and it's like there's no other rush or feeling like that. You go out and people chanting your name, and when the same thing I think can be applied to the red carpet whenever they go out there and there's people are coming in to take pictures with them and do stuff and they're in the action, in the know, and they're relevant. You sitting at home by yourself and you're not relevant, and that's what's been driving you for X amount of years. You're gonna start missing that. And I think Robert Downey Jr. is not old enough, is not too old to come back as Iron Man, because I don't think nobody else. I don't think they could recast another Iron Man. I just don't think, because he's going to always be compared to just like um, the Chadwick Boseman. It's going to be hard to replace them. So my thing is, if they do the Illuminati storyline, if memory serves me, that's going to be include Reed Richards, who we haven't seen yet in this MCU universe. It's going to include Namor, Iron Man, and I can't think of. There's two more other ones. I think Black Panther was in there, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
So they can't do that with this current timeline. So they're going to have to incorporate that or start it off somewhere, maybe on the Loki or the Doctor Strange 2. They're going to have to do something in that to start the Illuminati timeline, because two of the key members in this current timeline, well, one in the timeline is dead. The other one is physically dead outside of the timeline, and they don't know, and they're up in the air about whether they're going to replace him or which route they're going to go. So two of the key members in the Illuminati according to this timeline and what we know now about the situation, is not going to happen. So either they're going to scrap the Illuminati, or if they do, then they're going to have to definitely do it without Mr. Bozeman, which is going to be sad, but they're going to have to do it in a different timeline also. So I think that if he's sitting at home, he ain't got no good movies, because next year the Dr. Dolittle 3, Sherlock Holmes 3 is supposed to come out. So if that's a hit, and I think it will be, because I like the Sherlock Holmes series.
They've let it sit long enough that I think
then that may stave off his hunger for Marvel. But if it's another flop like Doolittle was, then I think he's gonna want some love and attention. So I'm not going to say you won't see Mr. Downey Jr. back in the armor.
Okay. I'm still of the mind that I believe that his helmet was broke in the end-to-end game, but only partially. I can almost foresee a scene in a new Iron Man or the end of one of these movies coming up, an end credit scene where his daughter or somebody takes the mantle of Iron Man and they turn on the partial helmet and his voice comes in on there. I don't know if he'll be back, but I don't doubt for a minute that if they throw, $500,000 his way and give him, 12 hours in a recording booth, that he won't do it. And if it's his second nature, as I can imagine Tony Stark is, or his voice is, because it's just him. It's his voice. I mean, it's just add a little snark to it and you're done. You know what? You can get a guy write, 30, 40, 50 lines and he can record it in 12 hours. And $500,000, why wouldn't he do it? I mean, I can stay at home and record these. Fine, I'll do that. And then you just do a computer generated, version of him. I don't know. I think in some way, shape, or form, he'll be back. I just can't tell you right now if it's going to actually be on camera, because I think that's going to cost them a lot more money than Marvel even wants to pay right now. Now, to what Danny said, Sherlock Holmes 3 right now is his big project, and he's very keen on continuing that series. I think it's been left alone long enough that people would probably still be interested in it, and I think it'll be a hit. But if it isn't, it's going to start hitting his pocketbook, and money is money. And when you're an actor, it's just like if you have a job at a fast food restaurant. If you don't like going to the job, it doesn't matter. If it's paying you and it's paying your bills, you're still going to go to that job. So he may not want to go back to Marvel, but if that's where his paycheck's going to come from, if that's going to guarantee he has money coming in, he's going to take it. I mean, again, not the first, not the last. There's been plenty of people. Harrison Ford said he was never going to play Han Solo again. They wrote him a check, and then all he asked for was the money and kill me, and he got it, and he came back. And then even after that, he said he was done, and look at what happened. He came back for the third one and shot a scene. I mean, it is not unheard of to do this. I mean, at one time, I had heard that after the third Indiana Jones, he had even mentioned he's not coming back to Indiana Jones. He did that. So, there's people. There's lots of people.
There are. You know what I mean? There are. But right now, Robert Downey Jr. has actually said he's done.
No, I know. He said that on September 2nd of this year, he gave another statement saying no. Mm-hmm. Even though Disney had said that he would be doing parts for some of the Disney Plus series, I'm wondering how much of that's going to be just stuff that they already had up.
Yeah, I think he'll probably do some of the Disney Plus What If stuff, right? Because it's like a 30-minute or maybe hour-long cartoon where he just has to come in and he just has to do some voiceovers, which you could probably do from his house, to be honest with you, right? So I think he'll do that. Now, it's like we said, if his movies flop and then Marvel says, hey, you want to come back for this and that, he probably won't get as much as he would have if his movies didn't flop. But the fact that they're probably, if they do flop, yeah, you know what I mean? A paycheck's a paycheck. So, but I mean, another thing too is he's made so much money during this Marvel thing that he really doesn't have to come back, you know.
Say he's only worth 300 million.
Only.
You know what? If that's a bad thing, I want to be worth 300 million.
Me too.
Just put
Scarlett
that out there.
Johansson is worth 150 million.
Mhm. Yeah, he's definitely worth more than that.
Listen, if you're an actor and you
I
live
thought
that life,
Samuel Jackson would be higher than that.
Then
No.
Robert Downey Jr.? No.
no, you see, it just depends. It's an ebb and flow. If you got 3 or 4 big movies that come out in a year, which happens, you're going to be on top of the world. I mean, The Rock last year wasn't number 1, but 2 years ago, I think he was. I mean, it just depends on what you got coming up.
Mhm.
And, you know, that changes every year. You know, Leonardo DiCaprio was there. Tom Hanks has been there. You are only known by your last good project or your last bad project. If you have a really bad, because right now everybody's talking about Dr. Dolittle. If you bring up Robert Downey Jr. and everybody asks, you know, hey, is it coming back to Marvel? It's because they remember Dr. Dolittle or they've heard about Dr. Dolittle. And trust me, that they are still people. They have a lifestyle that they're used to. They don't want to go away from. And you got to remember, Robert Downey Jr. is probably one of the first ones that could tell you what it's like to be down at the bottom because it's not been that far removed. And I doubt he wants to be there again. So
Iron Man was the one that saved him from.
Yeah. So I mean, again, Marvel has that on them too. Listen, we were there, and we took a chance on you. I think the worst thing, the best, you know, the thing you could do for us is kind of come back and do this favor for us. I mean, that's how Hollywood is. I mean, it's cutthroat, and if you don't play the game, you will go away.
I agree.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I think he'll be back. I just don't know what capacity. So. Well, okay. So David asked us about our thoughts on the Daisy Ridley revelation. Do you guys want to spin, or do you want to just go to that topic?
That doesn't matter to me.
It doesn't matter.
Let's spin it and see what happens.
Watch it come up.
Nope, they passed it. All right, we'll leave that up there though, or I guess we can talk about it afterwards. I mean, doesn't matter. You know, we got a little bit of time left. All right. It appears that AT&T has made WB and DC make a major course correction concerning DCEU, mostly Zack Snyder's Justice League. Do you believe that with this course correction, WB and DC are going in the right direction now, and will they be able to continue to do so without pressure from AT&T going forward? So we're going to put that in the chat. Aiden says, hold on there. Aiden said that he wanted to enjoy Doolittle, but unfortunately he didn't.
I didn't even bother watching it.
I haven't watched it either yet. Dandelion Flush says, I took my nieces to see Dr. Dolittle. It was fun. It was a fun kids movie. And that's the thing. I just don't think it was the movie that people had gotten used to Robert Downey Jr. doing all these other movies that they thought maybe they might have upped its age level, and they didn't, as far as I've heard. It's a kids movie, and that's a niche market. People sit at home to watch kids movies, not go out to the theater. So
yeah,
there's a lot to be said about that. Okay. Yeah, split it up, but no, I'm just looking and making sure that everything showed up. Okay, 3 minutes on the board. Who would like to go first?
I'll go.
Yep. All right, Danny, here you go. 3 minutes. Go.
The question is: it appears that AT&T has made WB and DC make a major course direction concerning the DCEU. Do you believe this course correction WB and DCU is going? I think that AT&T, based on what I've read and based on what I've heard from other YouTubers on other streams, the AT&T was very instrumental in getting the Zack Snyder cut. And I was going to do I still may do a video on this. I want this Zack Snyder cut to be awesome. But if it's not awesome, I don't think that. I just hope DCU is not putting all their eggs in one basket, so to speak, and not hinging on this to be the grand slam needed to turn around momentum. I hope it's good. I want it to be good. I think Zack Snyder was very capable. I think he's been given the time, and it seems like he's been given the money to make this thing as fantastic as everybody, all the Zack Snyder lovers are saying. I am not a Zack Snyder hater. I don't want it to sound that way. I just know that sometimes what fans want and what fans hook their wagon onto sometimes is better than the actual product. Case in point, the New Mutants. I don't know for how many years I kept hearing New Mutants, New Mutants, New Mutants. Won't they release New Mutants, New Mutants, New Mutants, New Mutants? They didn't do that. They finally did it. And based on what I heard, except from a very select few, it was pretty much garbage. I had no desire to go see it. I didn't think it was going to be. I was told it was a horror movie. I don't want to see a superhero horror movie. I don't. I don't. I just don't want to see that. So I'm just saying, based on what I've heard, and a lot of people are championing this Zack Snyder cut, which I hope. Like I said, I have no ill will against anything in DCU. I want all comic book movies to be successful, but sometimes they're just not. Another case in point, what's the girl? Harley Quinn movie was just not. I almost fell asleep on parts of it, just to tell you how bored I was. But again, AT&T, from what I was told, what I read, are trying to do the right thing, trying to listen to the fans, trying to get the boat pointing in the right direction. If this is a success, along with Wonder Woman, then I think they are going in the right direction. That they can potentially cover a lot of ground or make up a lot of ground that Marvel and cut into some of that lead that Marvel has now. So you just got to make sure these next two projects are home runs.
For sure. All right. Anzo, 3 minutes.
Yep.
Go ahead.
All right, so it's kind of like Danny said. AT&T really did have a lot to do with getting the Snyder cut out, and I do believe that they kind of did a course correction, but they also kept it open to where that they can actually go into a different direction, right? Because when I'm watching the DC fandom, Jim Lee and all those guys are on there talking about how they're kind of trying to find ways to do more cameos with their TV shows and their movies, because they said that Ezra Miller scene was like, it blew a lot of people's minds away. And with that, it opened up the channels like for Elseworlds and stuff like that. So the Batman that we're going to be seeing is a part of like a Elseworlds universe. I think the Joker is actually in that universe too, right? So it's possible that the Batman and the Joker movies could be connected. We don't know yet, right? But it's definitely a possibility that they can do that. So the Snyder Cut is coming out, and the Snyder Cut is supposed to, will hopefully be great, but it's also supposed to be its own little thing, right? So the Snyder universe is something different than actually the DCEU now, well, kind of anyways, because they might be wanting to go into a different direction. But I also believe that if the Snyder Cut is a success and people love it and it's, critically acclaimed and all that stuff, which maybe not critically acclaimed, right? Because a lot of superhero movies aren't. I'm not just saying because it's Zack Snyder, but just a lot of superheroes aren't. But if it comes out and it kicks rocks, then they might say, well, you know what? We can still continue on with the Snyder universe and just use the Batman and Joker as complete Elseworld stuff. Flashpoint is coming up. so they can do what they want to do with Flashpoint to integrate a lot of the things that we're going to see. That's why they have the Michael Keaton's Batman in there. You know, then they're going to have Ben Affleck's Batman in there. So it's going to be more like a multiverse type of thing that they're going to be creating, which makes a lot of sense because now you can have two Batmans and be like, well, this Batman isn't a part of this one. So you can do stuff like that. Or you can actually use Flashpoint to combine the Batman that's coming out, the Pattinson Batman, into the DCEU and maybe get rid of the Ben Affleck Batman or have the Ben Affleck Batman have his movie that was supposed to come out on Disney. No, what's their streaming service?
Which one? AT&T?
Yeah, HBO Max, right?
I believe they have ties to it. I'm not positive.
Okay, so yeah, you could put the Ben Affleck with the movie he was supposed to make on HBO Max as a series, just like they did with the Snyder Cut. So there's so much things that they can do, but yeah, I think they're definitely course correcting in the right direction.
Yeah, I believe AT&T stepped in because they'd heard all the hubbub about people saying, man, you can't go in three different directions. Because, I mean, they were starting to do that. They were still talking about Ezra Miller's Flash, but they kind of had backed away from Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill and Batman and Superman. They had announced they're doing a different Batman. They had all this stuff, and everybody's like, well, wait a minute, where are we going with this? Because you're keeping some of this timeline or some of this story over here, and yet you have this stuff going on. Shazam's supposed to tie to the Justice League story. Now you tell us that now Batman isn't a part of that story; it's somewhere else. And then it's like it was all over the place. After the DC fandom, it with one simple announcement that you're getting the Zack Snyder cut, it all of a sudden seems like they could come out on the other end and make sense of some of this, if not all of it. And that was the biggest problem, I think, is that, and I said it to Sean Stackhouse a ton of times when he said, oh, well, no, I'm like, it doesn't matter. It makes no sense to totally disregard part of something and keep the rest of it, because then it's like, well, what are you going to do? Just introduce a new Batman to that group? That doesn't make sense to me. A Flashpoint movie makes sense, but they weren't even talking about that until now. It's like, so the DC fandom and AT&T's push to get the Zack Snyder cut out there does correct this course. It is now WB and DC's job to keep that course until the Flashpoint movie. When that Flashpoint movie comes out, that can be their chance to wipe it clean and say, okay, if we don't want to have, if Affleck won't come back and we don't want to use Affleck, we don't have to now. We can write that out. If and that's a big if, we don't know yet. If he comes back and whatever he does with Zack Snyder is very calm and he doesn't bother him like he said it did, he might come back. But the Flashpoint movie will be a good way to say we can redirect ourselves to a different place now without people calling us out, because you can answer all those questions in a Flashpoint movie. That's the whole point of that movie. So yes, I believe that this is a course correction. Can they keep it? That remains to be seen, because they weren't going very long on the original course before they just slammed on the brakes like they always do. That's Warner Brothers and DC's problem. They slam on that brake and it's like, it's not working. It's not working. It's not working as well as you want it to. They needed to remember, it wasn't that it wasn't working. Justice League was a problem, but it wasn't the end of the world. And I think that's what AT&T decided to say is, hey, listen, that wasn't the end of the world, and you can fix it by doing this. Yeah, so 3 minutes, we can continue talking about this. I mean, let's bring Danny's question into this. I'll take it off the board, but we'll discuss this, and we'll discuss the Daisy Ridley one too. So Danny had another question in here. If the highly anticipated Zack Snyder cut isn't successful, will that totally destroy any chance of the DCEU catching up with Marvel as it relates to successful comics made into movies? I think yes. I think that if Zack Snyder's Justice League is a flop and does not garner the attention they wanted to, I think the DCEU, as you know, it is done. I think we do not see a Flashpoint movie. I think that they cancel the contract with Affleck, with the cameos with Henry Cavill. I think they cancel another Shazam movie. I think The Rock will get his Black Adam movie, but I think they canceled the Flash movie.
Nah.
I do. I think.
Nah,
That's
I
what
think
I think.
that I don't know.
Danny.
I think maybe if it's by itself, no. But if Wonder Woman flops too, then I think you may be right.
I don't think so, because Flashpoint already has Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck as under contracts. So all they need to do is use the Flashpoint to reset the universe. They're not going to cancel all these movies.
Well, yeah, they would. And if they're not going to cancel, if they're not going to cancel the Flash movie, then they're going to cancel the rest of the movie and just jump straight to Flashpoint as the next movie to kill it.
But they won't cancel Wonder Woman. They won't cancel.
Wonder Woman's already coming out. Oh yeah, they'll cancel one. They'll cancel Aquaman too. I think
they won't. Aquaman first one was $1 billion movie. There's no way.
I don't think it matters because like Danny said, I do agree with that. Danny, is that the combined dump of Zack Snyder cut and Wonder Woman flopping, if it does, yeah, I think that kind of puts a big damper on everything. And before they get started and spend all of that money, if they're going to do a Flashpoint movie, it'll be the next one.
They're not going to cancel.
I think they'll cut ties with maybe Henry Cavill, because he's wanting a ton of money, and they may cut ties with Ben Affleck. But I'm with Nzo. I think they'll make an Aquaman 2 because, like I said, it's their only $1 billion movie. So it would be foolish for them not to even attempt to let lightning strike twice with that film, so to speak, of that franchise. But I think they'll do a Flashpoint, and then I think they'll go a different direction with possibly Pattinson being the new face in the new Batman.
Exactly. And then you can bring in a new Superman, right?
Yeah, but my point is that, and again, you could be right, I could be right, I don't know. But I don't see, with as much money as they've dumped, by the time they get done with the Snyder cut and by the time they're done with Wonder Woman, we'll know before long, before they probably are able to get into a heavy production of anything else.
Well,
that
I hear what you're saying, but it's kind of like if they pour money into Zack Snyder and they pour money into Wonder Woman and they're flop, it would be insane to pour more money into those same actors or that same franchise expecting a different response.
That's what I'm saying.
Point.
I'm saying they're going to cut. Go ahead.
They're going to cut those actors. They're not going to cut. They're not going to cut the Superman, Batman franchise because that's making the money. I'm just saying they're going to cut Ben Affleck.
Oh.
They may cut Gal Gadot. I'm not certain because she's not really popular by a lot of the females. They're going to cut Henry Cavill, but they are going to reboot. They're going to have Flashpoint, I think, and then reboot it with maybe the Joker or maybe definitely with Robert Pattinson, and they may do the Aquaman too because Jason Momoa is so-called sex symbol. He's going to put butts in the seat, and he's the only $1 billion movie, so they're not going to turn away from that. But I think they'll refocus their attention to Aquaman, Flash, Batman, and cut out Henry Cavill, Gal Gadot, and Ben Affleck.
And
DC.
And let's put it this way. The Snyder cut can't really flop. It's on HBO Max. The only thing it could either be is good or bad, right? So you can't determine the money that it's going to make by saying it's
well.
You know what I mean?
Monetarily, I think part of the reason why they're announcing this is they're trying to get a bump to HBO Max, and they have a number set that they expect to see.
That's true.
I think,
and if that number doesn't come close, that's a flop.
I think it's going to exceed what they put into it. I think it's going to make more than $80 million.
I'm not saying I think that it's going to flop in that man, but I would say that take case in point here, Mandalorian. The Mandalorian got a ton of subscribers to Disney Plus, but they had nothing to back it up. So as soon as it was done, what happened? Everybody left. Well, not you know what I mean. Not everybody, but a large portion of people left. If Zack Snyder's Justice League is why people go, and it isn't worth it, that's guaranteed they're going to leave. They don't care what else is on there. If it is good, they'll stay because trust me, HBO Max will keep it up for a while to keep people there.
Yep.
Yeah, but they will. People won't stay because hold on, there's nothing else to keep them on that platform. That's the only reason why people left Disney.
Yes, but what I'm saying is if it's a flop, they're gone. If they don't like it, they're gone. They're not going to stay. If they like it and HBO Max is the only place at that moment that has it, they will stay.
That's right.
So they can watch it.
So why wouldn't they?
Wait. Let me finish on this stuff.
Why wouldn't they do that with Mandalorian?
It's still up.
Mandalorian is staying. It's still up.
That's different. But the thing is that's not
movie. And whether it's good or not, if they don't want to pay for HBO Max, they're going to pay from HBO Max until they get to see the movie.
I think it's different because Zack Snyder has a cult following that wants that stuff.
Okay, I get that. But once you see the movie, there's no reason to keep it if there's nothing else on HBO Max. So it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be.
I still think they stay because of that. I think it's a different dynamic.
I do too.
Now, the thing about this is then if Wonder Woman flops, they're not going to put millions of dollars, especially currently with the current state of the film industry in general. I think they cut ties from everything because they don't have anything completely mapped out with Aquaman 2. All of these contracts have buyouts, and the buyouts in the long run would probably be cheaper than making the movies. They cut everybody out, and they say we're jumping straight to a Flashpoint movie. I guess you'd keep Affleck and you'd keep Keaton for that. I guess. I don't know if they would have to. You do a Flashpoint movie, you reset the whole universe, and you say, now we're going to go forward. We're going to think about this for a year or two. And whatever. Now, Kavari here says that Walter, the new DC president, wants to clean away the Snyderverse, which I don't think any of us disagree with. I think that's the whole point. Get the Flashpoint and get rid of that. Or at least get rid of the parts that they don't want. If Wonder Woman's doing good, keep Wonder Woman. If Aquaman's doing good, keep Aquaman. If Superman... they still want Superman. And if Superman is the Superman everybody knows at the end of Justice League, kind of like how he was in the original Justice League, they'll want to keep that. Again, I think the Batman thing is somewhere. We don't know yet.
But let's just also say,
well,
they can still keep the same actors and change the universe.
That's true. But, they say he has a 5-year plan for it. Okay, well, if he has a 5-year plan, it's better than I think they had before. But I still think that if it... And yes, the way you'd have to quantify a flop with the Snyder Cut is much different than how you would do it with the movie. It's going to be based on how many subscribers it brings in, and then probably based on that views of those subscribers and how often it gets viewed. Again, they keep raising the money that Snyder's getting. So
I promise you, though, once it finishes, it's HBO Max, and if they don't have anything else on that platform like Disney Plus, it'll have the same drop off as Disney Plus did. Trust me.
I don't know. I don't think so, but I think that's their golden goose. They keep a hold of it for a long period of time, and then they say, in a year we'll release it to a box set. After that, I think people jump.
That's what Disney thought too. Disney thought,
but they did. Again, you're talking about a series.
Mandalorian didn't have the hype that Zack Snyder has.
Exactly. And 2, here's the thing. You release it in its 4-part mini series, whatever you want to call it. And then 2 months after that, you announce that they've put it together as a movie or a 2-part movie.
Well, they're going to do that anyways.
But the thing is then people are going to stick around so they don't have to wait. Because I guarantee you.
But it's not going to be a 2-part movie only on HBO Max, because Zack Snyder already said that he's going to make sure there's ways that people that don't have HBO Max are going to be able to see it.
I don't know why HBO Max would even put money towards it. Because if you're already getting told by the guy that you're doing it for, you don't want to do that.
But we don't have HBO Max in Canada, so how?
I understand that, and maybe that's what he's talking about. Maybe he's talking about for people in Canada. But the thing is it doesn't change what happens here in America. If they hold it for release to the general masses and only people with HBO Max, I mean, Danny agrees with me.
That's okay.
I mean, I'm just saying. I know.
Just remember what I said.
No, I know. Oh no. I understand.
What I said.
But we'll see.
I'm just saying. I'm saying that I think that Mandalorian was not as excited or as expected or as talked about as much as the Zack Snyder cut.
It was after the first episode.
No,
no. You didn't have anybody going out and hashtagging Mandalorian.
Yes, they did. Baby Yoda was everywhere. What are you talking about?
I don't think
it was anticipated as much as Zack Snyder.
No, it wasn't when it came out, but after the first episode
that's what I'm saying.
Okay, but
but nobody was clamoring at the bit to see the Mandalorian until after they saw it. We got people now that's clamoring at the bit to see the Zack Snyder cut. My point did. Okay, let me finish my point.
Yeah, go ahead.
Once Zack Snyder comes out, and if it is great, like everybody anticipates that want to see it, I think that it won't be like time as they see it, they're going to unsubscribe or cancel. I think they may hold on to it 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, 4. I don't know what it is. I think they're going to hold on it longer until they get another avenue where they can see it. Once they get another avenue, they can see it, or they're tired of watching it 4 or 5 times. Then I agree with you. They're going to cut it off. I don't think time as they watch it, I'm cutting it off. I don't think it's going to happen. But some series, as time as they watch it, there was no
rewatchability with Mandalorian. Very few people went back and rewatched it. We talked about it, and then we waited for the next one. I mean, that was basically how it was. It was done. Let's move. Done. We're move. They're gonna release these.
Let me do my point now.
Mm-hmm.
As I was saying, yes, Mandalorian wasn't as anticipated as Snyder Cut, but when that first episode came out, everybody was talking about Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda was the shit. That's why people were watching Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda was everywhere, and as soon as it was done, they canceled it. They didn't keep it there to watch Mandalorian again. Mandalorian can't be watched anywhere else other than DC Plus right now, but people still did it. So people will watch the Snyder Cut maybe 2, 3, 4 times if that's possible. But if there's nothing else on the platform, there's no reason to pay $15 a month just for Snyder Cut. So it's going to have the exact same drop off, maybe less, maybe a little more, but it's going to have around the same amount of drop off as Disney Plus. Guaranteed.
Then they hold on to each part longer. You get one part, 2 hours, whatever it's supposed to be. I don't know. They throw it out there.
I just think if it's fire, I might hold on to subscriber a month or 2 longer than I normally would if it was okay. That's my only point.
Yeah.
If it's crap, if it's crap, I'll be like, yeah, okay, unsubscribe. Especially if it ends something stupid, I'd be like, yeah, let me unsubscribe this shit. But if I look at that thing and that shit is fire, and that's the only way I can see it, I might. I think I'll take another.
Especially if there's multiple things you have to ingest. And this movie looks like on that. Well, this movie looks like there's going to be a lot of stuff that you have to rewatch to kind of get everything that's going on. But I don't know. Again, it's all speculation.
I said.
I don't. I am not saying that they won't get a drop.
All I'm saying.
If I could get a Fire Stick, of course, it's going to be a major drop.
Yeah. Okay. Let's just do this one really quick. Daisy Ridley admitted that there was no plan for her story. In a statement, she said that they toyed with the idea of making her a Kenobi. Do you think
Danny would love it? I told you that.
Do you think this would have been a better idea? We're going to keep this to a minimum.
I told you Danny would love the topic.
I know he would. That's why he's going to go first.
Oh, my God.
Do you think being a Kenobi would have been a better idea for Rey?
This is my think, Danny.
That was your question?
Yeah.
You were straight from hell, I'm telling you. I don't know why we talk about this movie because none of us liked the last movie. So I don't know why we keep talking about it. But I will say, I don't care one way or the other whether she was a Palpatine or a Kenobi or Skywalker. I don't care one way or the other. I didn't like the ending. I wanted her and Kylo Ren to get together because I'm the old romantic, I guess. I don't know why he died. I don't understand this whole last movie. I really don't understand. I read the book and I still don't understand.
Okay.
So I don't know whoever did this treatment or whoever rewrote it or whoever did. I don't know what they was doing. They must was trying to just do it for get a lot of fan winks and stuff. But I just don't understand it. Sure, she could be a Skywalker, Kenobi. I don't know. I don't think one getting one name is better than the other. I know some people probably want her to turn completely evil, and I kind of might want to see that when I guess she was fighting herself, and the person and her reflection had the double lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
So she would have been a Sith. That would have been a cool way to try to flip the script, but they chose not to. So like they had a good idea, but then didn't finish it on it, or started a thought but couldn't complete the thought. So the last Skywalker was very confusing. When I first saw it, I think some of the excitement of a new Star Wars movie kind of made me like it more than what I really did. But after seeing it a second time and then reading the book, I'm like, oh, this is just crazy. So I think whatever name they could have given her, it wouldn't have improved the movie one way or the other.
Well, I believe if they had at least her lineage from the get-go, you would have had a little bit more that they could have written throughout the whole thing. That's to say that if Rian Johnson would have even followed it. Because, no matter what you think, again, we won't go into with the, J.J. Abrams, did he not have an outline? Did he have treatments? Did he not have treatments? Did Rian Johnson follow him? Did he not follow him? If he didn't follow him, would he have followed this if they had it figured out? That's the question. So would he have even kept it up? Because that's the biggest problem with it all. I don't think the lineage mattered too much. I would have liked Kenobi better, but I think the problem is could they have had that continuity from movie 1 to movie 2 to movie 3, where it was an underlying talking about, because the bad thing about The Last Jedi, I think, was the fact that Kylo was lying to her. I think I knew he was lying to her, but he said they were nobody. Well, that's not really what it was. It's just they didn't build up anything. By the second movie of the original trilogy, they told you Darth Vader was his father. You just had time to think about it and either not believe it or believe it. And then the third movie was able to build on that. They didn't even do that with Rey. So I'm not sure if it mattered, the lineage. It was the way it was told. So I think Danny's right. It's just there was just no story there to help with it. If they wanted to make her Palpatine, they had to have that right from the get-go. And because they didn't, it just doesn't work.
Well, listen, man. First off, it would have made a lot more sense for her to have been a Kenobi.
I think so.
The Palpatine shit was just a fan shit that they found online.
Yeah.
But this goes to your point that we talked about before, where, J.J. Abrams didn't have no treatments. There was none. You cannot create a character and not know her beginnings and ends from it. And in the statement, he says they were toying with the fact that she was supposed to be a Kenobi. And then when it came to Rise of Skywalker, she says in the interview that they didn't even know she was going to be a Palpatine until halfway through the shoot. So it just goes to show that they had absolutely no plan for this series whatsoever from beginning to end. And I'll tell you this straight up, I blame Kathleen Kennedy for all of it. I really do.
Yes, I think the blame squarely lies on her because she could have said at any time, JJ, you gotta get this shit in order. Or she could have said, "This is how we're going to do it," and right or wrong, good or bad. Yeah, definitely. I mean, they had, and again, this always goes back to the one thing we know that George Lucas handed treatments over.
Mm-hmm.
If nothing else, you stated that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to have the whole outline. You don't have to have everything mapped out. You just stick to that.
Mm-hmm.
We know that his main character was going to be a female Jedi, so you're not changing anything there. I mean, yeah, it's maddening. I think it proves more and more that Kathleen Kennedy is not the person to be in charge of this.
Yeah, she stabbed George Lucas in the back, and they could have did his treatments and just took out the stuff they didn't like. You know what I mean? If they didn't like the fact that he planned to do the wheels and stuff like that, take that out. You know what I mean? But at least finish off the vision that he had planned. You know, the 1 through 9, finish it off, end the Skywalker saga in a way where the Skywalkers are heroes and move on from there. But they decided to do it their way.
Yeah, and I said it during the whole time of up to Rise of Skywalker. I played nice. I didn't look at, any leaks. I didn't know anything about it. Everybody else had read the whole damn script almost, and I kept on telling them, "Don't talk about it around me. Don't talk about it around me."
You should have talked about it around you because it was crap.
Well, yeah, and like I said, from this point on, I don't care. We're going to talk about it. I'm gonna buy into the spoilers. I don't give a shit, because the fact of the matter is that while I am still hopeful, I'm not one of those people that want Star Wars to go away. I'm still hopeful that somebody will fix it. At this point right now, aside from The Mandalorian, because I know who's in charge of that mostly, I don't want anything else. I don't want any movies that are Star Wars. I don't want anything until Kathleen Kennedy is gone. If it's still crap after that and they can't find the person to go, then maybe there's more of a problem than we know. But I still think when you put somebody there that doesn't give a crap, I mean, Kathleen Kennedy's first few movies she had any dealings with were Indiana Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, I think that's why Indiana Jones 4, at least to some extent, works, because Spielberg was still tied to it and Kathleen Kennedy was not in charge of it. As this next Indiana Jones movie without Steven Spielberg, I'm not looking forward to it unless she's out. The next Star Wars film, unless somehow, some way, somebody that is a Lucas fan or tied to Lucas that can call Lucas on the phone, I don't want to see a Star Wars movie. And that hurts me. It hurts me to say that, but I don't want her attached anymore. After everything I've read that everything J.J. Abrams did try to do to fix it, and she just turned around and said, no, we're going to do it this way.
Mm-hmm.
If you won't do it, I'll do it. And again, I think Nzo, you may have mentioned it, that the people had said they'd heard him loudly arguing with her about this stuff. So yeah, I mean, anytime you hear that, it's not a good thing. And I don't know. I mean, I think J.J. Abrams deserves some amount of blame, but ultimately, yeah, it needs to fall on Kathleen Kennedy. And I hope that people in Disney know that. And we'll find out at the end of this year. Her contract's up.
Yep.
Pray to God she's gone. Pray to God. But we'll find out. Okay, well, an hour and 13 minutes. We got a couple extra topics in there. Talk to all that stuff. And Dandelion Fluff, thank you for coming. David, Kavari, Nindroid, Austinator, all of you guys that were here. Steeg, I saw you in the chat too. Thank you, everybody, for coming and making this a fun time. Danny, Anzo, thank you very much. Go ahead and tell everybody about yourself one last time. Danny, or Anzo, go ahead. You go first.
Yep, you guys know where you can find me, Biggaford Entertainment. Check out all the shows we have. Square One, Rob Storms. We got Chaotic Conversation, Rule of Three, Chaos List, Equilibrium, and whatever else I forgot. I'm sure Danny will fill them in.
Well, you got your show.
Oh yeah, the OOC. Forgot about that one. Jeez. So you guys check out the streams. You know, we try to do a lot of entertaining stuff for the people here. So we'll see. Appreciate it.
Oh yeah, anytime. Danny, go ahead.
I am Danny, aka Comet Chat. Like Nzo said, we have several shows we do throughout the week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays we need to do on the show, and on Thursday and Friday nights, and Monday and Tuesday nights on Rob Storms. No, Friday and Saturday nights. Well, me and Nzo kind of go back and forth with that.
Mhm.
But we have a lot of good content out here. We ask y'all please support us. Please hit the subscribe button. Please share. I know it's a lot of shows, a lot of content. Pick a show that you like. Stick with us. We enjoy your support. Enjoy your comments. Enjoy you leaving us that thumbs up. That helps with the YouTube algorithm. And we just enjoy trying to entertain you and bring you information that you may find interesting. And we hope to try to entertain you during the same time. So just continue to follow all of us. Subscribe to our channels. Share. And we look forward to talking to you on Saturday afternoon, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Will be square one. So don't miss.
Mm-hmm. I am Chris Knight. The Real Review 3000 is my channel, also here at Chaos Central. So yeah, I got Gospel According to Chris. I've got the weekly Rumble, the weekly wrap up. We do the Chaotic Conversation, Chaos List, Rule of Three. Occasionally, I go over to Robert Storms. I have been on Square One once, and of course, as always, my opinions are considered wackadoodle and all sorts of crazy stuff. Cuckoo bananas, as Mad would say. Yeah, but I think we all have lots of different stuff. Again, I stress highly two things, guys. Go check out Chaos Central if you haven't already. Please go over there. Please subscribe. We're up to, last I knew, we were still at 67. We're trying to get up to 100. We're trying to do that so we can get our vanity title, which is basically just youtube.com/Chaos Central. Makes it really easy to find us. Things go a little quicker after that point. We have a lot of content. Danny said it. But that content is always on our channels. You can go back and watch that at any time. And that's all we ask is just take your time, watch what you want. If you don't like where it's going, look at the next one. It's fine. But we thank you guys for watching, and we appreciate all the support you do give us. And with that said, guys, I think we can say good night. Yes?
All right, guys.
All right. Take it easy, guys.
Cheers.
Night.